Okay, so I think we can get started. So thank you for being here, people that are here. I'm just going to be going over the resources I use for the Bitcoin updates that I have on TikTok and that I also repost here to YouTube. So let's get started. So first off, you can go to find the links to all the resources. You will go to Google and then you can just type in the search bar my handle, finance, and once you get here you can go to the about section and then scroll down to Linktree, and then from Linktree you have the get email updates, and then from here you can sign up for my newsletter to get these updates right to your inbox, but you don't have to. You can just go straight to the previous issue, and this is entirely free for now. I don't know if they're going to start charging once I get a lot of people signed up. But then once you're here, you scroll all the way to the bottom and you have the free resources for understanding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And these are direct links to all of the resources that I use and share and that I will be going over today. So that's that. If you are on TikTok or you found me on TikTok, then this link is also in my bio. It's a direct link to this page. So you just scroll down and you hit the first newsletter, and then for all of them I will have the resources at the bottom. So that's how you access these resources. So let's jump right in. The first resource is the how many Bitcoins are there by Bitcoin worldwide. So sorry about that. So this resource is pretty cool because it shows us how many Bitcoin are left to be mined, and it shows us how many Bitcoin are in total existence, and then how many new Bitcoin are being mined per day. So just a quick explanation, there are only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin in existence, and so these are the ones that are currently in circulation, so to speak, and these are how many we have left to mine. And so whenever we say new Bitcoin, generally we're talking about these pools, that is the Bitcoin that is left to be mined, and those are given as a mining reward or something for miners who are confirming transactions and adding blocks to the blockchain. So that's that first resource. The second one is just CoinGecko. So if you're new to the cryptocurrency space, this is pretty cool. It's basically like a stock market list for all of the altcoins and all of the cryptocurrencies out there. So you can go here and you can kind of see Bitcoin's on here. It's the top cryptocurrency, and then Ethereum's the second. And we have Tether, which is third right now. XRP was third, but it's been falling down a lot recently with the lawsuit of the SEC against Ripple, which is the XRP founder group. So that's pretty cool. It shows you the price here for Bitcoin, and then you've got the 1 hour change, and you've got a 24-hour change, which is 1 day, and then you've got a 7-day change. So as you can see, Bitcoin's been dropping about 11% on the week, 3.5% on the day, and then it's up about 0.5% on the hour. So that's this resource. The third one is the Bitcoin dominance by market cap. So this, we kind of want to go back here. As you can see on this right side here, Bitcoin's market cap as of the filming of this video is $667 billion for all of the Bitcoin in existence total. And so that's pretty neat that you can see that here. And then Ethereum is $141 billion. Tether, which is the next biggest one, is $24 billion. And the Bitcoin dominance shows how much of all of the money in crypto is stored in Bitcoin. And now the reason you want to pay attention to this chart, and as you can see, I'm just now realizing on the YouTube, it cuts off that bottom part. So there, that's visible. As you can see, the dominance has been falling a little bit, and you've got the dominance here, and I give daily updates so you can track what we are at on certain days. So when Bitcoin dominance falls, you tend to have what's called an altcoin season, where altcoins start to pump. So things like Ethereum, or back here Polkadot, or Cardano or Litecoin will start to go up when Bitcoin dominance starts to fall. And this isn't like a direct relationship. It's more of like a general. So generally speaking, when Bitcoin dominance falls, the reason is because money is flowing from Bitcoin into other altcoins. Typically, it first goes into Ethereum, which is like the largest altcoin, so to speak, and then it will flow into other things like Polkadot, you see up quite a bit, Cardano also up, Chainlink also up, Stellar up a little bit on the day, Binance Coin, so that kind of stuff. So that is the Bitcoin dominance chart, and that's why we pay attention to it. The next one is the Bitcoin treasuries, and over here you have the value locked in the treasuries of publicly traded companies that is stored in Bitcoin. So MicroStrategy, you may have heard in the news, they bought about $1.125 billion worth of Bitcoin. And because of the price appreciation of Bitcoin since MicroStrategy bought in, they hold around $2.5 billion of Bitcoin. So they own 70,470 Bitcoin. And then here is the percent of the total Bitcoin supply. So they have 0.336% of that total Bitcoin supply of 21 million. And then you can scroll down here and they have this really neat part where they add it all up for you. So you have 5.58% of the total Bitcoin supply is stored in the treasuries of publicly traded companies that is held in Bitcoin. And that equates to about 1.1 million Bitcoin, or as of right now, $42 billion. But you can see here the companies only had to pay $30 billion because of the price appreciation of Bitcoin since they bought in. So that's a cool resource to use because you can see how much more companies are getting on board with Bitcoin. And keep in mind, this is only publicly traded companies, not necessarily private companies that don't have to report their finances. So that's pretty neat. The other part here is the 42 billion is how much money they have at current in Bitcoin because of that price appreciation. So that's this chart. The next one is the cycle repeat chart. This one was pretty cool when I first found it because it gives you estimates on where Bitcoin will be over time, and it does it based on previous cycles. So it will mirror the previous cycle and then estimate based on where we are now what different price points are going to be. So they're predicting an after halving top of $566,000 per Bitcoin. And if you're new to the channel, I kind of have predicted between $100,000 and $400,000 per Bitcoin, which is more or less where I'm going to be pulling out. But my goal here on this channel is to give you the tools and resources you need to be able to do your own research and make your own decisions. So that's something that I try to do here, and I hope you get from the channel. So yeah, this is the cycle repeat chart, and they're sometimes pretty accurate. Sometimes they tend to overestimate things. You can see on the dates here at the bottom. I think I got a question on TikTok that someone asks about the drop. So they're predicting that it peaks around 500 something, which is here. They're predicting around October, end of October of 2021, and then it'll drop after that. Right now they're predicting still that by the end of January we're going to see the lowest prices in Bitcoin that we will see ever again. And so that's what their prediction is. It kind of fluctuates, but that's why I report on it daily, so you can kind of keep track of this. But now you should know how to find this resource, and I'll go over that again at the end. The next thing I want to do is go over the stock to flow model, which let's just reload really quick. So this is a neat chart that shows you the supply of Bitcoin relative to how much new inflow of Bitcoin is coming, and gives you an estimate of the price. So this red line you can kind of see along, followed by all the dots, and then you can see more clearly up here where it's in the future, is what the fair value of Bitcoin should be based on that stock to flow, and the dots are what the actual value of Bitcoin is at that time. And so you've got this neat part here where the green is where we are undervalued, and then the red is where we're overvalued, where we overshoot the chart. And so when we zoom in here, you can see that recently we've been overshooting the fair value of Bitcoin, which means people are a lot more optimistic about it moving into the future. I made another YouTube video about this, so you can check that out if you have time. But the thing to note is that typically we try to lag, or we generally lag the fair value of Bitcoin before reaching the end of the halving events effects, and then overshoot that fair value. So here we are behind, and then we overshoot it back in 2017, and you reach all-time highs way above what the fair value was, which they said around the all-time high on December should have been 5,400 or so per Bitcoin. And so if we do overshoot this too much, it would look more like in 2013 during that bull run, where you had the double peak. So you had a peak in April, and then the price dropped almost 50-60%, and then the price went back up for another peak by December timeframe. And so that could potentially be what we're looking at here. As you can see, we are above the fair value, so if we continue to climb, then that could be a very realistic possibility. Alternatively, we could start consolidating, and that just means that Bitcoin's price slows down and stays pretty steady until we're under this, and then at some point start climbing again. So that's that resource. So our last resource is basically just Google Trends, and this isn't on that free resources link and list that I showed you at the beginning. This is just because it's Google Trends. You can find that yourself, and basically you want to look for Bitcoin interest, because this shows people who are in retail involved in Bitcoin or wanting to get involved in Bitcoin, because people that are already in the space already know what resources to use for Bitcoin, aren't going to be just Googling in general Bitcoin or buy Bitcoin or what is Bitcoin. And so I recommend you kind of look at this yourself to kind of get familiar. But basically you see here that we are rapidly increasing in retail interest in Bitcoin, up to 70% of the maximum ever recorded interest, which occurred back here in 2017. And a really interesting point to note with this cycle repeat chart that I want to show you is that in the past, the after halving top happened, if you can see this date over here, exactly at 2017 in December on the 16th, and that was the highest price Bitcoin reached during the bull run, and then it started falling back down, and it never reached those highs again until just recently this year, when we're now rocketing past that. So you can actually look back and see that the December 16th was just below the peak of retail search interest, and so retail search peaked out on December 17th through the 23rd, and then started falling. And I wish we had more granular data on this. So if anyone knows about any more granular information, please do share that in the comment section. But I currently don't. But it's really interesting to know that once the price on the Google search, or once the interest on Google search trends peaks out, it's likely that we will be seeing a topping of Bitcoin. So you might be concerned that the Bitcoin interest is up here already, but there is something I want to talk about. And again, I talked about this in another YouTube video, that we have to go further back, because as you saw on the stock to flow model, the Bitcoin cycles have been repeating over time, and had another peak, like a double peak event back here in 2013, where more people were getting involved in Bitcoin. And so you actually see that here, where Bitcoin came out in like 2008, 2009, no one was searching for it. Maybe 2010, some people started getting interested at like less than 1%. And then 2011, there was a bit of a spike. And then over here, remember, April of 2013 was that first peak. You have April of 2013, the Google search interest spikes again, and we're up to 7% of what is currently the all-time high. So this at the time would have been the highest point of the Google search interest in Bitcoin. And then it fell back down, as you could see on the stock to flow, we had that April 2013 peak, and then it dropped, and then it wasn't until, what was this, December of 2013 that we had another peak. And what do you know, you have 6 months, 6, 7, 8 months of nothing, and then all of a sudden November, December, another peak in retail search interest that would again push that level up. And so then when you got here during the 2017 bull run, even though on May of 2017 we had an all-time high in retail search interest, the bull run continued for about 6 months: May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Yeah. So about 6 months before we reached a new all-time high. And the way Google Trends works is if search interest increases, it just normalizes to the highest value of search volume. So here it was the December 2017 where everyone was getting involved. And so here, even though we may be reaching that level soon, it is reasonable to believe that we would still have about 6 months worth of a bull run before we start peaking. So that's another reason we want to keep an eye on this chart. So that's pretty much it. Just going to go through one more time how to find these resources. You can go to my YouTube, and then you go to the About section, and you select the link tree, and it'll take you here, and then you select Get Email Updates, and it will take you to this page. And you don't necessarily have to put in your email. I am sending out free email updates, and I only think I get 50 people who can sign up for free before I have to start paying. So I may have to start charging or just close it after that. So if you're interested, sign up now. Otherwise, you can just scroll down and see the previous issue, which is here. And then on all the issues at the bottom, there will be the links to free resources for understanding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency right here. So that's that's pretty much that part. I think that's everything I wanted to cover. So if anyone has any questions, I'm available to answer those now. If you are on TikTok, the link to this page is also in my bio, so you can just click on my bio and then, or go to my page and then click on the link in my bio, and it'll take you to this page, and you can find the resources here. But that's pretty much it. Hope that helped. Hope you got some value and found this informative, and that you are able to use these tools and resources to do your own research and make your own decisions about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and investments that you are interested in making. Do keep in mind your risk tolerance. Never invest more than you're willing to lose, because for all we know, prices could fall tomorrow. But yeah, so that's everything. If anyone has any questions, I'm available now. I have TikTok up, but I got a low battery warning, and I am streaming live on YouTube, so you could just put your questions in the comment section if you want me to explain anything else or go over anything, or you just have crypto questions. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for coming, and I will stay on for another couple minutes if we don't get any questions.